Good morning, church. Can the people at the back hear me? Yeah? Okay. I play video games. Now, the type of game I play nowadays is called role-playing games or RPGs. Now, for RPG games, you select a character, you go around doing quests, and you kill monsters. Now, when you play any video game, especially RPG games, the most important thing to figure out is what is called the game mechanics. The game mechanics is the fundamental rules, system, and interactive elements that govern how a game functions. It dictates what players can do, how they can progress, and how the game responds to their actions. Especially, they are the building blocks of gameplay, shaping player interaction and the overall experience. So, for an RPG game, the game mechanics can involve solving quests, killing bosses so you can move on to the next level, character by killing monsters to gain XPs, collecting coins so you can buy better equipment or fighting better equipment. And the game architect put the game mechanics into the game. And you need to know it and follow it to win the game. If you don't know the game mechanics, you won't know how to progress and you're not going to do well. What about life? Are there any game mechanics in life? In Proverbs chapter 8, it says, I was there when he established the heavens, when he drew the horizon of the oceans. I was there when he set the clouds above, when he established springs deep in the earth. I was there when he set the limits of the seas, so they will not spread beyond their boundaries. And when he marks off the earth's foundations, I was the architect at his side. I was his constant delight, rejoicing always in his presence. And how happy I was with the world he created, how I rejoiced with the human family. So in the book of Proverbs, wisdom was not just an attitude, a way of thinking, or philosophy. It was personified as a woman, meaning it's a person. And it says that Lady Wisdom was the architect when the world was created. And Lady Wisdom was involved in the design of the game mechanics of the world. In the following verses it says, I, wisdom, dwell together with prudence. I possess knowledge and discretion. To fear the Lord is to hate evil. I hate pride and arrogance, evil behavior and perverse speech. Counsel and sound judgments are mine. I have insight, I have power. By me, king reigns, and rulers issue decrees that are just. By me, princes govern, and nobles who rule on earth. I love those who love me, and those who seek me find me. With me are riches and honor, enduring wealth and prosperity. My fruits are better than fine gold. What I yield surpasses choice silver. I walk in the way of righteous, along the path of justice, bestowing a rich inheritance to those who love me and making their treasures full. So by getting wisdom, we're able to make better judgments, make better decisions. We're able to better manage our life, our work. We're able to do better, live longer, healthier, richer, and happier in life. So if you want to do well in life, you need to have wisdom. We can even say that gaining wisdom is about knowing and applying the game mechanics of life. So today my topic is called game mechanics in Proverbs, and I want to share with you 3 game mechanics in life that we can learn from the book of Proverbs. The first one is called preparation. In Proverbs chapter 6 it says, take a lesson from the ants, you lazy bones. Learn from their ways and become wise. Though they have no prince or governor or ruler to make their work, they labor hard all summer gathering food for the winter. But you lazy bones, how long will you sleep? When will you wake up? A little extra sleep, a little more slumber, a little folding of the hand to rest, then poverty will pounce on you like a bandit, scarcity will attack you like an armed robber. So ants are the perfect example of preparation. Ants are always working. They're either finding food, carrying food, or on its way to carry food. I don't think you can ever find an ant that's just sitting there enjoying the sun. No, ants gather food all summer to prepare for the winter. And the proverb says, learn from the ants. Start to prepare. Start to work so you can have money in the future. And preparation is especially important if you're a farmer. In Proverbs 20 it says, the sluggard does not plow in the autumn. He will seek at harvest and have nothing. In chapter 21, it says, the plan of the diligent leads surely to abundance, but everyone who hastily comes only to poverty. So, for the farmers, there are only things that you can do in certain seasons. Autumn is for sowing because it's a time when the rain comes and the soil is soft. The crops grow through winter and spring and finally ready for harvest in summer. So preparation is very important because it takes time for the crops to grow from seed to a crop that you can harvest. The crop doesn't grow overnight. It doesn't grow over a week. It doesn't grow over a month. It takes several months before you can sow. You can harvest the crops. So if you don't sow in the sowing season, you're not able to harvest in the harvest season. Farming is hard work, especially if you live in biblical time where there's no modern machineries. It's very labor intensive. It's hard work. But if you don't work, you will have a bigger problem. You will have no food. Now, since we live in the 21st century, most of us probably have never planted any kind of crop before. None of us have any experience working as a farmer. But there's one plant I think most of you have the experience of planting. And what is this plant? This plant is called the pea shooter. Has anyone ever planted the pea shooter before? Yeah? Now, the pea shooter is in a game called Plant vs. Zombies. Now, in this game, the zombies are here to eat your brain. They move across the lawn to reach to your house so they can eat your brain. So what you need to do is defend yourself by planting pea shooters on the lawn, which can shoot the peas to kill the zombies before the zombie reaches your house. Now, the game mechanics of Plant vs. Zombie is all about preparation, and we can actually learn something from this game. Now, let's do some math. Suppose a gargantuar is coming your way. It has 1,500 life. It walks at a speed of 3 seconds per square. You have one pea shooter, and it shoots 2 peas per second, causing 50 points damage per pea. Now, let's do some math. How long does it take for a pea shooter to take down the gargantuars, the units in seconds? Second question, how many squares will the gargantuar travel? And thirdly, when should you start shooting or planting the pea shooters? So the pea shooters causes damage at the rate of 50 points per pea. It shoots at the rate of 2 peas per second. So if you 1,500 divided by 50 p per point per pea divided by 2 p per second, you simplify the equation and take out all the unnecessary units, you get 15 seconds. Second question, how many squares will the gargantuars travel? It travels at the speed of 3 seconds per square. So 15 seconds divided by 3 seconds per square, you do the simplification, you get 5 squares. Thirdly, when should you start shooting or planting the pea shooters? There are 9 squares on the lawn. 1, wait until it reaches the second square. 2, wait until it reaches the fourth square. 3, wait until it reaches the sixth square. 4, as soon as possible. What is your answer? So, although we all know that you can wait until the fourth square before you start to plant your pea shooters because there are 9 squares and you can kill it in 5 squares, in reality, you want to kill it as soon as possible. You know, when I'm playing this game, if possible, I want to kill the zombies before they can even land their feet on the lawn. Now, let's change the question slightly and do another math question. An essay is coming your way. It has 1,500 words. It's due in 3 weeks. It takes you 30 minutes to read and write 150 words, and you can work about 30 minutes per day on the essay. 1, how long does it take you to write the essay? 2, how many days does it take? 3, when should you start working on your essay? So you read and write at the rate of 150 words per 30 seconds. So 1,500 words divided by 150 words over 30 seconds, and you do the simplification and give you 300 minutes. So the answer is 300 minutes or about 5 hours. 2, how many days does it take you? So you work 30 minutes per day. 300 minutes divided by 30 minutes over a day is 10 days. So the answer is 10 days. 3, when should you start working on your essay? 1, wait until the end of the first week. 2, wait until the end of second week. 3, the day before the essay is due. Or D, as soon as possible. 5. What's 5? After it's due. Yeah. So, although we know that the best answer is as soon as possible, what do you actually do? You wait until the last minute, or 5, after the assignment is due. Now, what actually happens is that you procrastinate with your essay. You wait until nearly the due date, and your internal alarm starts to scream at you, and you start to work like crazy, trying to squeeze out hundreds of words. You check the word counter every 10 minutes to see how many words you have written, and you finally get to 1,200 words. But you still have another 300 words. What do? You start to putting a lot of empty words, filling words, words that has no real content, but only to make the sentences longer. And you finally have the work done 1 minute before the due time. After you handed the work, you feel like the essay is like the zombies in Pond of Zombie. It breaches the defenses and ate part of your brain. You know, I've seen it too many times in university. The night before a major assignment is due, at 11 p.m., 12 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., the lights in the computer lab are still on, and students are still working, trying to finish off the assignment on time. Why do I know this? Because I was there myself. As someone who really values his sleep, I hate the feeling of working overtime and not able to sleep. But there's a better solution, there's a better alternative. To write an essay, you need to put in real content, which means that you want to read plenty of material before you write. Writing 1,500 words is difficult, but if you read and write 150 words every day, it's very manageable. In fact, if the essay asks for 1,500 words, you want to write about 1,800 words. Why? Because there's a saying that there's no such thing as a good writing, only good rewriting. After you write your essay, you want to revise it and rewrite it to make it better. So if you have written 1,800 words, your work is not to add new content or new words, but to trim out unnecessary content. And it's much easier to trim out 300 words than to come up with another 300 words. So while your friends are getting their brain chewed by the assignment, you're chilled and relaxed because you have too many words. You only need to take out the word that you don't need. And I'm using essay as an example because most of you are students, and if you're going to study in the university one day, you better start to learn the discipline of writing essays because you are going to write a lot of them. But the same principle can be applied to any other big projects, whether it's preparing for SAT exam or a presentation or other work. You can break it down and start to work it bit by bit every day. Procrastination is not a good way to work. Preparation is the way. It took me a long time to finally develop the discipline of doing a little bit every day so I don't have to rush at the last minute. But I don't want you to take that long to learn this. So start preparing now. Don't procrastinate. Do a little bit every day. So turn around and tell your neighbor, start preparing today. The second game mechanics in Proverbs is called hard work. In Proverbs chapter 13 it says, lazy people want much but get little, but those who work hard will prosper. And in chapter 14 it says, work brings profit, but mere talk leads to poverty. Everything you want in life, you need to put in work to get it. The more you want, the harder you need to work. And the more you work, the more you will get. The problem is that we are lazy. Hard working is hard. And we don't want to work hard. And there are many ways we can make ourselves not do the work. Proverbs chapter 22 verse 13 says, the lazy person claims, there is a lion out there. If I go outside, I might be killed. So we say to ourselves, with many excuses like, oh, it's too hard, it's too difficult, I can't do this, I don't feel like doing this. Or in Proverbs chapter 26, verse 14, it says, as a door swings back and forth on its hinges, so the lazy person turns over in bed. We lie on the bed saying, oh, well, this is what I want, this is what I'm going to do to get it, I'm going to do that. After we said that, we still lie on the bed. We're not actually getting up or doing anything to make it happen. Or in Proverbs chapter 26, verse 16, it says, lazy people consider themselves smarter than 7 wise counselors. We heard other people achieve success through their hard work, and we say, nah, that's stupid. I know a better way to achieve this. And you come up with several ways that sounds good on paper. And guess what happened? We don't do anything. Another wrong way of thinking about getting what you want is that, how do we get it fast? How do we put in the least amount of work? What is the shortcut? But Proverbs is against this kind of thinking. In Proverbs chapter 21, it says, good planning and hard work leads to prosperity, but hasty shortcuts leads to poverty. In chapter 28, verse 20, it says, the trustworthy person will get a rich reward, but the person who wants quick riches will get into trouble. And in chapter 13, verse 11, it says, wealth from get-rich-quick schemes quickly disappears, but wealth from hard work grows over time. Proverbs is against shortcuts. It's against get-rich-quick schemes. Proverbs want you to be diligent and work hard. For whatever you want to get in life, you must be willing to put solid effort into it. Because hard work is the inbuilt game mechanics of life, you can't fight against it. You can't be lazy. Because if you do, your life is going to get worse and worse. In Proverbs chapter 24, it says, I walked by the field of a lazy person, the vineyard of one with no common sense. I saw that it was overgrown with nettles. It was covered with weeds. Those walls were broken down. Then I looked and thought about it. I learned this lesson. A little extra sleep, a little more slumber, a little folding of the hand to rest. Then poverty will pounce on you like a bandit. Scarcity will attack you like an armed robber. This verse describes a scientific law called the second law of thermodynamics. So it basically says that things naturally tend toward disorder and less useful states over time. This means that any usable energy degrades into unusable energy, and overall it will become more disorder and become more random. So everything in your life will naturally tend toward disorder and become less useful over time unless you put effort into it. If you don't put effort into maintenance, your hair is going to become messier, your wardrobe will become messier, your grades will become worse, your kitchen will become messier, your clothes will become smellier, your muscle will become smaller, your bank account balance will reduce. Everything in life requires work. The more work you put into it, the better you will become. But if you ignore it, it will naturally become worse. And the game mechanics of hard work, not only does it apply to things in your life, it also applies to the skills you want to develop. One of the key game mechanics of an RPG game is that you need to keep on killing monsters to gain experiences or XPs to level up your character. And there's a term for it. It's called level grinding. Now, in the video RPG game, level grinding is the act of repeatedly performing repetitive tasks, such as fighting enemies or completing quests, to gain experience points for the other resources to level up a character. Now let's take example. Say for example in the game Diablo 2. Now this is Diablo 2 because this is the age I was born. After in Diablo 3 or 4, I didn't have a video console, so I couldn't play the game. Now, you found the item called Skull Genward 5. It's a leather armor. It's a rare item because the name of the item is in yellow. It gives you 30% chance of open wounds, plus 10 to all attributes, increase maximum life by 10%, replenish life plus 90, increase maximum mana 10%, regenerate mana 180%, and damage reduced by 2. Now, you really like this item, and you can't wait to put it on. But there's one little problem. You need to be at level 40 to put this armor on, but you're only on level 38. What do? Level grinding. You only start to go around killing monsters. You're not going to the next level. You're just going around finding and killing monsters. And you keep on killing monsters to gain enough XP to level up to level 40 until you can wear that armor. And level grinding is not just a game mechanics in video games, it's also true in real life. Say you started working as a junior engineer, and if you want to become a senior engineer, it normally requires you to have 5 to 10 years of experience. And it's also true in exam preparation. Say you are struggling with a particular type of question, what do you improve? How do you improve? You simply find 100 similar questions of the same type, and you do it over and over again until you're finally able to do it perfectly. Level grinding recognizes the fact that it takes a lot of hard work for us to gain enough experience to perfect a certain skill. Remember last time I came here, I told you about the story of Andre Agassi? When he recalled how his father trained him in tennis when he was a boy, this is what he said. My father says that if I hit 2,500 balls each day, I will hit 17,500 balls each week. And by the end of 1 year, I will have hit nearly 1 million balls. He believed in maths. Numbers, he says, don't lie. A child who hit 1 million balls each year will be unbeatable. You know, there's a saying, 菜就多练. Practice makes perfect. It doesn't matter what goal you want to achieve, the skills you want to develop. Remember, hard work is the inbuilt game mechanics of life. You know, don't look for shortcuts. Just put in solid work into it, and you will achieve your goals one day. So turn around and tell the person next to you, put in the hard work. Tell him again, 菜就多练. The last game mechanics I want to tell you is get wisdom. In Proverbs chapter 4, verse 7, it says, getting wisdom is the wisest thing you can do. And whatever else you do, develop good judgment. In verse 23, chapter 23, verse 23 says, get the truth and never sell it. Also get wisdom, discipline, and good judgment. Why is it so important to get wisdom? In chapter 3, verse 13 to 18, it says, joyful is the person who finds wisdom, the one who gains understanding. For wisdom is more profitable than silver, and her wages are better than gold. Wisdom is more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare with her. She offers you long life in her right hand and riches and honor in her left. She will guide you down the delightful path. All her ways are satisfying. Wisdom is the tree of life for those who embrace her. Happy are those who hold her tightly. So it is saying that wisdom is far more precious than anything else in life. If you get wisdom, it's going to benefit every other area in your life. It's going to give you long life, riches, honors, and happiness. How does getting wisdom able to do that? It says that wisdom will guide you down the delightful path. You know, very often our life got worse because of misjudgments, making wrong decisions, or doing foolish things. And it's like walking down the wrong path. And if you continue to make wrong decisions and misjudgments, all those will compound and cause great damage in your life. But on the other hand, if you have wisdom, you know, you keep on making good decisions and you keep on making good judgments, it leads you down to the right path, and all your good decisions and good judgment will compound and greatly improve your life. Nowadays, I play a game called Project Zomboid. It's an apocalyptic survival game. It's a slow-moving RPG game for an old guy like me. And like other RPG games, it has level grinding mechanism built into it. There are many areas you can grind your level in Project Zomboid. You can do carpentry, electrical, farming, cooking, tailoring, first aid, fishing, hunting, and many other areas. Now, let's say carpentry. If you want to level up your carpentry, you take a hammer and you go around breaking furniture. And you gain an XP for every furniture you break. However, there's another game mechanics that is building to this game that will make you level up much faster. It's called a level multiplier. Now, in video games, a level multiplier is a game mechanics that increase or decrease the impact of various game elements based on the player's level or the game's difficulties. It's a way to adjust the challenge and rewards, often tied to XPs and character progression. In some games, multipliers are tied to the experience points. A level multiplier might increase the rate at which XP is earned, allowing players to level up faster. So in Project Zomboid, if you find a skill book called Carpentry for Beginners, and you read the book before you start breaking furniture, you'll get 3 times the XP every time you break a furniture. Meaning that if it normally takes you breaking 30 furnitures to level up, now you only need to break up 10 furnitures. And I think getting wisdom is like getting a level multiplier. You know, although you're willing to work hard, but you don't have the knowledge or know-how, or you keep on making mistakes, you'll find yourself going round and round the circle and not making any progress. But on the other hand, if you read to get instructions on how to do it before you start putting in your hard work, you already learned what other people's mistakes, so you don't have to trial and error yourself. You are going to improve much faster. So I suggest that instead of putting 100% of your effort into hard work, get wisdom before you start and make learning part of your life. I want to play you a clip of Charlie Munger. Charlie Munger is a partner of Warren Buffett. He died in 2023 at the age of 99. He lived a long life, and he made a huge amount of money, and he made a great difference in the world by donating a lot of money into universities to build new buildings. This is part of his speech to the graduates of the University of Southern California Law School in 2007.
And this may remind you of Confucius too, is that wisdom acquisition was a moral duty. It's not something you do just to advance in life. Wisdom acquisition is a moral duty. And as a corollary to that proposition, which is very important, it means that you're hooked for lifetime learning. And without lifetime learning, you people are not going to do very well. You are not going to get very far in life based on what you already know. You're going to advance in life by what you're going to learn after you leave here. If you take Berkshire Hathaway, which is certainly one of the best regarded corporations in the world, and it may have the best long-term investment record in the entire history of civilization. The skill that got Berkshire through one decade would not have sufficed to get it through the next decade with the achievements made. Without Warren Buffett being a learning machine, continuous learning machine, the record would have been absolutely impossible. The same is true at lower walks of life. I constantly see people rise in life who were not the smartest, sometimes not even the most diligent, but they are learning machines. They go to bed every night a little wiser than they were when they got up. And boy, does that habit help, particularly when you have a long run ahead of you. Albert North Whitehead.
So Charlie Munger said, you're not going to get very far in life based on what you already know. You are going to advance in life by what you are going to learn after you leave here. Your learning does not stop in college, it does not stop in uni. You continue to learn throughout your lifetime. The more you learn, the more you will advance in your life. So turn around, tell your neighbor, be a learning machine. Let me conclude. I've covered 3 game mechanics. There are many other instructions in the book of Proverbs that are beyond the scope of this sermon, and I recommend that you read the book of Proverbs often so you can learn other game mechanics and apply them in your life. Before I finish, there's one more thing I want to point out. In Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7 it says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instructions." In chapter 9, verse 10 it says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is insight." The fear of the Lord is the foundation of wisdom. Before you can even gain wisdom, you need to recognize that there is a God who created the world. And this God who rules over the world, and he rewards and punishes those who either follow or not follow the game mechanics that he built into the world. He is a just God, and he rewards those who are diligent, who do their preparation and put in the hard work and put in the effort into learn and study. So to gain wisdom, the first thing you need to do is to know God and have a relationship with God. If you're not a Christian yet, but today you say, I want to know God, I want to gain wisdom, I want to lead you into a simple prayer. Can everyone close your eyes and bow your head and pray with me? Dear God, I come before you. I confess you are the creator and the ruler of the world. I confess I am a sinner and have done many things that sin against you. Today, I put my faith in Jesus Christ. I believe his blood cleansed my sins. I accept him as my Lord and my Savior. I invite the Spirit of God to come and live in me so I can have a relationship with God. Please give me the knowledge and the understanding of the game mechanics you put in life. I ask this in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for today's sermon. That was quite interesting. I liked how you related games to wisdom and things like that. It was quite interesting. That was a good way of putting it. Just to know that you play Diablo 2. So. All right, cool. So, in terms of notices, we don't have that many notices from what we know, but we do still have cell group that is on next week.